Okay, so I am here with Therese Cruz, which is the Executive Director of the Visual Arts Nova Scotia. And we are here to discuss the event accessibility policy that was developed by reachARTS. This is in celebration for NAW Week, which is National Accessibility Week, which runs from May 26th to June 1st. So within this policy, it's very thorough and explains the commitment that needs to be taken seriously when it comes to implementing these policies and the time and the effort that goes into it. So Therese, what I want to hear from you are what are your inclusion goals or plans with this policy?
So, as we are a member-driven organization, and a lot of our members are artists that have their own practices and careers. So, what we want to be is that main source of information when it comes to setting up these events. So, say, for example, a gallery opening or an art exhibition or anything that has to do with presenting or showing art and art talks and discussions around that. And it's really great to have like a resource such as the policies that are in place by Reach Arts, because there really has to be something for us to explain and really, enhance that accessibility of arts and arts presentations in the province, and I mean everywhere. So yeah, I guess when we started off partnering with Tova, our board and staff both attended a disability confidence training, and so that kind of became that jumping off point from to really like forge that relationship and create that goal as to like how we as an organization can be better at promoting disability confidence and accessibility.
Mm-hmm. It seems as though accessibility or the talk around accessibility is often kind of swept under the rug when it comes to the arts. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
it's celebrated as much or seen as importance, but I would love for you to touch on that.
So yes, so I guess in Nova Scotia, I believe this was a number that was quoted by Tova. 1 out of 3 people have identified with some sort of disability. Am I quoting that right?
Yeah, yeah.
um, so I guess that because like artists, it's probably a much higher rate. I mean, I don't have the numbers offhand by now, but in
Mm-hmm.
2022, we actually hosted a roundtable discussion on accessibility in the arts and artists. So we had a group of folks that identify as artists and do live with a disability. So there was a lot of like engagement and conversation around that. And so, we do try and do a lot of programming to really amplify those the situations and the realities that are,
Mhm.
with artists living with disabilities.
Yeah. And I love the key component of that is you went into these communities and you talked to these first person experiences and hearing all these authentic voices. And that is truly how you get started, is just sitting down with the community and asking, what do I need to learn? What don't I not know at this point? And what can I start doing?
Mhm.
So with this policy, how do you think it can support your current staff that you have now, or even your onboarding new employees? Do you think it will benefit you?
Definitely, because part of our role and our mission is to really educate and create accessible and sustainable practice and careers as artists. So we do present a number of programming in the community. So we do professional development, and there's like every fall and spring. So we offer workshops surrounding like those key points that I have touched on in terms of creating a sustainable career for an artist.
Mm.
And it definitely, and we also offer um, a mentorship program and an artist in residence program. So those would definitely benefit from having that policy in place as well. And so we can also, and that would mean that more people would have, would be able to take these classes or workshops or programs than we already have.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I had an opportunity to browse on your website and I went to the
Yeah,
mentorship program, and it's a wonderful program. And I really like how you target anybody, and it's a very
yeah.
wide audience and you're open to any walk of life, which is fantastic. I would love for you to share me with us a success story that you might have with uplifting an artist.
So I guess that comes in many forms and ways, but I guess we were also just talking about this today about how we've noticed a growth specifically to the mentorship program that it used to be like emerging artists that are applying to it, but now
Mhm.
there's this surge of re-emerging artists, which people that have decided, that they wanted to take a break in their artistic practice for whatever reason, or they needed to access a different like medium, or life happens because that is real.
Mhm, yes.
um, and I think we really ought to, acknowledge the fact that it's not a linear, like nothing is linear, and we all go through in different waves or forms of, and really, like, it doesn't matter how you get there. It's you just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can definitely see that with the engagement with the community, right? When you put out these
Hmm.
policies or you start implementing these new rules, you could say,
Hmm.
that try to include everybody and just meeting everybody where they are and not expecting them to make their way to you. It really shows and your audience will
Yeah,
grow. And I think this is
yeah.
amazing. And it sounds like already your mentorship has really grown because you've targeted a very wide audience,
Hmm.
which is
Yeah.
fantastic.
And I guess it's good to point out that it is definitely an ongoing learning process. Like, it just doesn't stop at one point. Um, and I guess on that same note, we are reevaluating the mentorship program and seeing it more of as a broader emerging artist program, just to incorporate all the other folks that, you know, wouldn't necessarily fit in the quote unquote box. And we
Yeah.
shouldn't. We shouldn't really put anyone in a box.
No.
So that is what I'm really proud of, as for our organization, is we are able to identify those moments when we should stop and think and reevaluate things, and see what works and what doesn't, because yeah, like there's a lot of factors that are involved in that programming, and like anything from planning to execution, there's always going to be something different or a factor that changes things, and your plans don't necessarily work the way that they would. But again, this is also another point of why policies are great to have, is because you'd have that backing when things, don't work the way that they would usually want it to.
Yeah, this is not an easy step, right? When I talk about DEI or the topic around DEI, it is a continuous up and down. You are
Hmm.
falling on your face, learning from, okay, this didn't work, but next time let's try this out. And I love how you said that it doesn't just stop all of a sudden. This is something that you carry with you outside of your work, right? It's a commitment.
Yeah.
And it's a very beneficial commitment. You will see the results, which is so, so amazing. I also want to touch on fulfilling a box, which we oftentimes hear,
Yeah.
right? Check a box, check, we
Yeah.
got them, right? And intersectionality is something that I truly am so passionate about. Me, as a woman who is struggling with a mental illness, I'm a Black woman. So I check many, many boxes, right? So I would love for you to talk on what intersectionality means to you and how do you see this kind of working into this new policy?
I think personally, and I mean, again, this is like an ongoing evaluation of myself. How do I, you know, how do I exist in the community, and I guess a lot of questioning about like where do I fit in, or what is my role? But I think
Mm.
um a lot of it is okay, like maybe I can identify like this point and this point and this point, but at the end of the day, we all have that place. I guess I would compare it to like Tetris because well, one, I really love the game, but like you at first you think it's not gonna fit, but you turn it in the shape in a different way, and then all of a sudden it just fits the puzzle, right? So I would like to think that that's kind of where we all are headed into, like as different as each piece may look to you, like may appear, like it all fits together somehow.
Oh, absolutely. I love that analogy. I might steal that from you.
Sure.
So, I know that the board received training from Tova, which is wonderful.
Yes.
So when it comes to that, what is their next step? Is it to continue going down this path and working on what's not working and what's working, and let's keep going in that direction? What's next?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it was a short training, and like there's always going to be something new to learn. And what's great about our board is, again, there's always constant change, but the framework's still the same. So I would say like we are constantly looking at what can we improve on, like going forward, and yeah, really like heavily relying on that, like that foundation that those trainings provide for us. And I do look forward to presenting that same type of training as our new board comes along in this next year. So, and I think that'll just continue on into the next few board iterations, whatever that would look like for us.
Wonderful. Well, I'm so pleased to hear and acknowledge how useful this policy has been. And I look forward to future work. You are always welcome in our space, and hopefully
Thank
soon I
you.
can make it over to your space so I can look
Yeah.
and see with my own eyes.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
Implementing accessibility is a forever progress or a process. It's a commitment, and it seems as though you are working towards that commitment. So it's so, so great to see. It's so
Thank
refreshing to
you.
see.
We'd like to think so.
So for anyone watching this interview, if you have any questions on implementing accessibility in your organization or your work, I encourage you to go to www.reacharts.ca or email info@reachability.org. Thank you so much, Therese, again for
Oh, you're
talking
welcome.
to me. You are wonderful, and I cannot wait
Thank
to
you.
come see you in your space.
Yes, please take care.